Hello, I'm Derrick Worrels from Hillsborough Community College Athletic Program, and you're watching the Tampa Bay Community Network.
Well, hello there, Tampa Bay, and welcome to the Tampa Bay Community Network Sports Talk. I'm your host, Coach Chuck White, and my guest is Coach Derrick Worrels of Hillsborough Community College. He's the athletic director as well as the men's basketball coach. First of all, I like to just say Derrick and I go back a long way, so you're going to hear us just reminiscing through some things. But right now, I want to say, Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Coach, for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. You know, you were in town and you slipped away from me, and now you're back, and we're just so glad to have you, and I know the college is glad to have you. Let's talk about some things happened in your early days of playing sports.
Well, Coach, I grew up here in the Belmont Heights area, and I played baseball most of my life, and actually from that era, then turned and moved to a different area of town and ended up going to Plant High School. And from the Plant High School days, ended up playing basketball at Plant, but not baseball at that time.
Mm-hmm. Now, what honors did you receive during that time in high school?
I was an all-conference basketball player throughout that time. For Plant, I was the most valuable player and defensive player of the year, which I've always taken a great honor in being a defensive stopper, so to speak.
Yes, that's something guys kind of shy away from a little bit when they're offensive players. They do so much on offense and they try to take a break or rest on defense, but when you get a defensive recognition or award, that's really saying something as a player. Now, when you left Plant High School, where did you go for college?
I left Plant High School after playing for Coach Dyer for a couple of years, and then came over to Hillsborough Community College and played 2 years for Coach Joe Patton. And Coach Joe Patton and Coach Dyer both had separate ways of how, you know, in my life, how they molded me as a player.
Oh, yes. Well, I do know both of the coaches. I go back to Coach Richard Dyer when he was coaching at Plant. During some time, I was coaching at Blake High School, and even though we were rivals, coaching against each other, we became very good friends, and till this day, we are very good friends. And I know Coach Patton because he came after me coaching at Hillsborough Community College. Yeah. So let's take it from there with Coach Joe Patton. How did you feel playing with him after having played with Coach Dyer?
Well, Coach Dyer was kind of, I say, was my motivator in college coaching. He kind of got me started, and he was that kind of driving force to kind of just push me. Coach Patton gave me added a lot of fundamentals to the game for me because I was so new to the game. And really to this day, me and Coach Patton, we talk a lot. It's still very much a part of my life, even as today.
Well, I see Coach Patton once in a while when I go to the Coaches Legends breakfast that we have every first Wednesday in the month at 8:30. And Coach Dyer's there, Coach Marcus Paula. Just any of the coaches back during the days when I was coaching, you can always find them there. Coach Pewson is from Lake Toe as well. Now, you know, it must be something that strike a fancy with guys after having played and they watch certain coaches, particularly their coach or coaches, and sometimes it inspired them to want to be a coach. And many times people grandfather them into playground opportunity to help certain position players. Then sometimes they volunteer. I don't know what happened with you. Why don't you tell how many viewers what sparked you to want to be a coach?
Well, actually, I think it's more or less along the lines of being a first-generation college student and being from the inner city and having an opportunity to give back to those young men that kind of I can see myself out there and being able to gravitate to those young men and try to bring them into the fold and keeping them going in the right direction. So I think it was more so than it was actually the thought process of ever coaching. The coaching just happened to, people such as yourself, you take bits and pieces of the good, the part they do, and you say, hey, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do, because I know you played a large part in helping mold some of the things that I do today.
Well, I'm glad to see that we got such a fine product that we developed early days, and you doing remarkably well, and we're really proud of you. Now, would you like to name some of your assistants or some of the other people who work with you during your tenure at HCC?
Yeah, I've had Coach Steve Taylor, who was an assistant coach he was a head coach, at Coastal Carolina University many years ago. Neil Risher, who's a longtime assistant of mine, who's now actually a vice principal at Lato High School. Coach Ami Arco, who's now at Pasco Hernando, and to bring it around full circle, now one of my assistants is actually a former player, as a former academic All-American at Eastern Michigan, Coach Jay Higgins.
You were recently named athletic director. Many times coaches feel that that's a positive for them as a basketball coach. They become the athletic director, so to speak, their own boss. And then some coaches feel that, wow, I got a full plate here coaching basketball. Now here they want me to be an administrator and not only look at basketball, I got to look at all these other sports and things. How do you see it now that you've been named athletic director?
Well, I think it's a juggling act right now, truthfully, Coach. But the opportunity to get into sports administration is great. But again, sometimes practices maybe at a different time in an effort to make sure that I take care of the entire program as opposed to just myself. There are other teams that need the support and things of that nature. So right now, it's I won't say the own boss part it's more the juggling and making sure that the support is evenly distributed throughout the program.
What all sports that you have to direct?
Right now we have men and women's basketball. Okay, we have women's softball, men's baseball, tennis, and right now our volleyball team, which is the #1 team in the state and recently ranked in the top 10 in the nation nationally, them as well. Coming up in the foreseeable future, we'll have men's soccer that's coming up follow. Very recently after that probably will be women's soccer. The biggest juggling act is figuring out where the financials are coming from, scholarships, dollars, and book and that type of thing. But it's received a lot of support from the college. Received a lot of support from the president. He's been very supportive of it. So we're going to get it done and serve the community. And soccer right now is plentiful throughout the country.
Now, do you have boosters, parent clubs, or anything like that? And do you have business people supporting the program?
Right now, independently, most of the programs operate on their own in terms of the booster and sponsorship. It probably would be my challenge to get us an athletic booster program. And you know how it is at community college. It's easier to say in the high school when you have the perennial support, more so than you have in the community college atmosphere, where oftentimes we have young kids that are coming from every direction you can possibly imagine. So that's one of my challenges, is to get something going as far as alumni support.
If the program is successful, they did a good job. They, not you. But if the program fails, you haven't done your job well. So you got to get out there and hustle some money and maybe do a number of things along with coaching your basketball team.
Oh, absolutely, and that's part of it. Everything has a challenge to it. So from getting all involved And if we're successful, which we will be, I have no problem with everyone getting credit for it. I know it's a team game. I just want the W at the end of the day.
Well, you seem so positive about this thing becoming athletic director along with basketball, and that's exactly what you're going to need. And there are going to be some rough spots that you got to cross. You're going to have people coming in there, like, say, for example, everybody want to use this field of the gym at a certain time. You got to settle these disputes and all these kinds of things. So I guess you're prepared for it.
Some of that we already have going on.
Yeah.
So the gym usage and field usage, more primarily the gym usage, is probably a big one because everyone's starting AAU basketball and male and female basketball. So gym usage and all the big tournaments that are coming through, as well as volleyball. Gym usage is probably one of the bigger things we have to try to juggle. The times, the dates, and we can adhere to the community and go from there.
Do you have outside use of the gym, outside teams, say some college teams coming through, a professional team maybe coming through, or maybe other people want to use the gym? Do you have that kind of thing?
Yeah, we've had, over the course of a couple of years, we've had some very big teams. The year, I used to coin the phrase that if you want to win a championship, you need to come practice at HUC because UConn, the year they won the national championship, they practiced a couple of days there, as well as the UConn women. And then 3 years ago, I believe it was, Louisville came and practiced a couple of dates in there, and Louisville ended up winning the national championship that year as well. So I might send that little barb out to them, let them know if they come through Tampa, they might want to practice at our place. So,
what about some of these high school playoffs? You got so many high school. Do you advocate or encourage them to come in? Or you don't have the time or whatever?
We've hosted some of the All-Star games at the end of the year, like the Hillsborough County, Pinellas County All-Star game. But because we don't have that, you remember in years past, we had bleachers on both sides of the gym, and therefore we were able to accommodate certain games a little bit easier. Especially, I think for years we had the Jesuit TC game a couple of times there, and but then that became, now that we don't have that particular set of bleachers there anymore, the venue is, we don't serve as many people, and some of those games nowadays have a big following. So, we'll have some all-star games and things of that nature.
Football has a program that I like to see colleges, they are getting into it or have gotten into it. Football call it the combine. Combine come from the combination of drills and activities that they have that coaches in the advanced or next level will come and take a look at and see them. Say, for example, if a college has the combine and thing, the pro coaches will come and look at them and whatever. And the same thing with professionals. Here's some guys on the bubble, or they're going to be traded or waived or whatever, and sometimes coaches want to be familiar with those guys out there. I've often said, if they had something like that, or do they have anything of that nature that high schools could go through? Maybe all of them could be at one spot, some clinic, jamborees or something where college coaches like you and others can see.
Well, actually, they do have something now a lot of times where different camps will promote. They'll have colleges come in and they have showcases. There are a lot of showcases that go around. And as far as the junior college, for our perspective, our very first week of participation, October the 3rd, we officially start practice October 1st. October 3rd, we're actually in Tallahassee, and there's a jamboree, which is about a 16 to 20 team jamboree.
Wow.
And I would estimate there are about 200 college coaches there at that jamboree. So, and they're really looking at athleticism and skill set more than anything.
I am a part of the United Negro College Fund Basketball Classic. the reason they call it a classic because it's not just a game, is girls all-star basketball game. The girls all over the county divided into East and West team. Then the boys, East and West team. Then they have the three-point shootout for the girls, three-point shootout for the boys, and they have the slam dunk for the boys. Then they have people, they pull tickets, pull the stub out, and the one to win that, they get a chance to shoot for this $100 from out. I don't think nobody's ever won it yet.
So that pot's still growing then.
I don't know whether the pot just carry on. I think it just was. If that's the case, it'll be up to about in the thousands. I don't know if they can afford that. But they have drawing cards. They have two of those classes. They have one at HCC and they have one at Jefferson. So they've been doing that. Then they have the county of Hillsborough play the county of Pinellas All-Star. So that's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
So what do you think about having some kind of little something at your gym, HCC, for just Hillsborough County to come and let the kids do some drills, a combination of things?
Oh no, we're open to any and everything, Coach. Whatever way we can serve the community. We're more than we've hosted the Pinellas Hillsborough County All-Star Game a couple of times. They alternate sites, I believe, from Hillsborough County to Pinellas and vice versa. But we're open to anything that can that'll help boost the community.
What are some of the other things your players get involved with? Supporting other programs, or people doing things for your team, or you carrying your team out to do things in whatever manner, other than just coming to practices and playing games, maybe during the season, or maybe, shall I say, off season? Do you get your team involved with other things?
Well, community service is probably the biggest thing that some of these young men as well as ladies need to do to focus on. That's just giving back. I know we have certain things that we do. We participate in the Wounded Warrior. We try to have a game. We call it the Veterans Day Classic this year, as well as we do the Pink Game for breast cancer awareness. So there are a lot of things that we try to focus on the awareness of certain things in the community. But one focus I like to pinpoint a little bit more is some inner city community involvement with my team, because most of my kids are inner city kids that need to give back a little bit more.
We haven't talked about the conference in which you play and how the conference operate and some of the things you're involved with. Enlighten our many listeners and viewers to what the conference consists, the name, the number of games you play, and et cetera. Just take it from there.
Okay. It's us, St. Petersburg College, Polk State, State College of Florida, which used to be Manatee for those that aren't familiar. Pasco used to be in our conference. We play each team 3 times within our conference as far as men's basketball is concerned. And then from there, we move over to the state tournament, which is in, now it's in Ocala, Florida. It used to be in Marianna, Florida. And it's in Ocala. And from Ocala state tournament, we moved to national championship. And I will say to pat Florida JUCO on the back a little bit, both our men and women were national champs. So that tells you the kind of talent that Florida Junior College produces from this area. Both men's from Northwest Florida and both Chipola women were national champs in basketball last year.
You know, there's some parents come and they talk with me knowing that I've been involved with junior college teaching and coaching, et cetera. And they will say, well, Coach White, what do you think about the junior college? And I first of all tell them I think it's the most valuable thing a student, whether it's a regular student or player, can get involved. And I tell them that my daughter, Marinette Florence White Shavers, she went to Hillsborough Community College. My other daughter, Monica White, went to HCC. My other daughter, Yolanda Cabrera Liggins. She attended community college, and I taught her. And she kidded me about, I taught her in a tennis class, and it was so hot out there that she just didn't see how I would punish them. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Some of those classes would make and some wouldn't. And I was praying that that 12 o'clock noon class wouldn't make, so I wouldn't have to get out there. But I sucked it up and went on and did it, and we really enjoyed ourselves. But talk about some of the advantages you feel that community college kids have over going to four-year schools.
Well, I think the obvious one is class size environment. That one-on-one connection still exists with student and professor. The cost of going to college as well. I think for many times in the sports arena, we have a tendency to think that a kid is either physically, mentally, emotionally, or not academically ready to attend the four-year school. And again, I'm talking about myself included because I wasn't ready. And HCC and community college afforded me that opportunity to grow, to strengthen myself both academically, physically, and mentally and emotionally, to be ready to go be that, you know, I don't know if I was ready to be that little fish in that big pond. I use Florida A&M as an example. I don't know if I could have been, you know, went from playing high school to Florida A&M and been successful. That's just a fact.
I taught swimming at HCC. We didn't start teaching kids in the deepest water of the pool. We started in the shallow water, and we grew to the deepest part. And that's the way I look at the education of the kids. Don't go off from home to this big school and get homesick and start at the community college and then come back home in the evening, talk with the parents how the day went. And then by the time you do these 2 years, you learn how to do certain things in college when you're going to be away. Now, I have a grandson, Johnny Liggins, who was captain of the golf team at King. He wanted to go to the Hillsborough Community College at HCC, but you don't have golf. I have another grandchild, Chelsea Shavers. She's a volleyball wizard. She wanted to play. She made all conference and everything, but something didn't work out right. So she is in junior college, a community college. She's going to Ocala.
College of Central Florida. I saw her play.
College of Central Florida.
Yes. I watched her play. Very great athlete too, Coach.
She's a super athlete.
Yeah.
And she's going to community college. And Johnny Liggins is going to HCC, but not as a golfer. What is it you don't have about golf, or will you have golf in the near future?
Well, we haven't proposed golf before. Many years when you were, most of our viewers might not know it, but we have to enlighten them a little bit. Where the International Mall now sits used to be a golf course,
yes,
the Hall of Fame golf. Yes,
yeah.
So that was a little easier access. Now, you know, you don't have as many golf. The courses, in particular, are doing well throughout the nation. So getting that sport going, I love the game of golf myself, and some of that I picked up because of people like yourself. But I love golf, and I don't. Again, we went to to soccer right now. Hopefully, and probably expand on that from there. But golf itself, again, it's just trying to find a course. And again, we had immediate accessibility when the Hall of Fame golf course was right around the corner.
I loved it. Why don't you just enlighten some of our listeners and viewers what it takes for a student to get enrolled at Hillsborough Community College, and what does it take for a student to get enrolled on your varsity or any of the varsity sports team?
Okay. To get enrolled, generally, as long as you have to graduate from high school or have your GED, from there and everything nowadays is online. So the majority of the things, you can go to hccfl.edu and pick up the majority of what you need right there online. And if need be, all our campuses have academic advising, which are more than are extremely helpful. As far as the athletic aspect, we recruit nationally, and we all have tryouts. So if we're not in the gym scouting you, or if we're not on the field scouting you, or on the court in some facet, we all generally have tryouts throughout the year.
Before we close out, who are your top rivals in basketball, since you're the basketball coach? Is it still Florida College or St. Petersburg?
It probably is St. Petersburg College, and because we're so close. And nowadays, with some of the places that have, for instance, Ybor City, and you have a lot of kids that come from the St. Pete area to Tampa, and they kind of migrate to the same area. So now it becomes bragging rights. I probably would say it's St. Pete College. Polk State is right there. And we share the same commonalities no matter what. Pasco, even though they're not in the conference anymore, they're still, it's still a little, you go in there, you can feel the tension as you walk in the door. So we all have a little shared rivalry there. But when it's all said and done, we usually combine forces and try to root for each other once we get to the state tournament.
What time are your basketball games, and how many games you normally play? Right quick.
Generally, our games are at 7 o'clock. We play roughly 15 home games as well as the ladies. Generally, if we play a doubleheader, the ladies are at 5 and we play at 7.
That sounds like a great program you got. You're going to be the athletic director, controlling all of the sports, including your own. It should be some advantages along with some disadvantages.
Absolutely.
So be ready to face it. We certainly appreciate you being on the show, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Coach.
So that's it for the Tampa Bay Community Network Sports Talk. We certainly hope you've enjoyed this show as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. So be with us again on our next show right here on Tampa Bay Community Network.